Hi. So I thought I would start my vlog as I was cooling out Sadie. Here she is. Um, Today I wanted to talk about Hurricane Irma. Ah! Everybody in Florida here is pretty on edge about Hurricane Irma. Right now I think it's off of I forgot what the name of the islands are, but anyways, the islands that are southeast of Florida, and it has now gained intensity, and it is a category 4 hurricane right now. And earlier today it was 3, and it had stayed 3 for a couple of days. But the predictions are kind of all over the place right now because they don't really know where it's going to go. The first thought was that it was going to head straight for like the tip of Florida and then go up and towards Carolinas. And then there were some wind pattern changes, I guess, and pressure changes. I don't really know for sure. I'm not a meteorologist. And now they're saying that it is headed towards Florida. So our governor, Rick Scott, has declared a state of emergency for the whole state. And yeah, every single county in the state is under a state of emergency right now. What he's saying is that we should all prepare and just get everything ready. So as far as horse stuff, everybody that I know has been talking about where they're going to go, what they're going to do with their horses. And our barn owner owns a property that is an hour and a half away and has welcomed us all to come there if we needed to. They have pastures, and they usually say that the safest place for a horse during a hurricane, if it's not flooding, is to be in a pasture so that they can be free of flying debris, so that they can use their natural instincts to find the safest spot in that pasture. Around here, there are no pastures. You can see right there where there's a house. That little patch of green is a pasture. There's a little pasture there, and then a house. It's all super populated. Even there, pasture, and then a house with like a dog training club. So really, if it floods, we're screwed. If there is high winds right here, we're screwed, because this is a barn that is aluminum, which is good for breathability, for what am I trying to say? It's good for ventilation. You want to keep walking? Go ahead. Ventilation, good for ventilation, good for breathability and not building up mold and mildew and all that jazz. So that's really good, but it's not good in high wind conditions. So we've all talked about our evacuation plans. The other thing that's really important that some people tend to forget about is your supplies. So let's say we get our horses out. Then you have to think, what are they going to eat? Grass is not enough to sustain a horse unless it's a really nice cultivated pasture or tons of acres. And around here, there's not that. Even an hour and a half away, there's not going to be super lush, nutritious pastures. So you have to pack enough hay for 3 days. Water, got to have water, got to have grain. You need an emergency first aid kit in case something happens in the trailer. And a lot of people are realizing that, oh, I forgot to train my horse how to load in a trailer. So that's really not good. Not me. Peachy and Sadie both go to different places, so they'll be good loading up. Sadie did not used to be good, but I spent a lot of time working with her, so now she's okay. And also making sure that you have all your documentation. So the coggins, the negative coggins certificate, and vaccinations. Like our horses are all vaccinated against strangles, so they'll be good for travel. And if, what else? Well, really just thinking about the worst case scenario, because if you plan for the worst, you'll be okay even if it's not that bad. Kind of like the analogy of shoot for the stars. And if you miss, you'll land on the moon or something, whatever that is. So I've got my trailer, and the tires are good. There's air in them. My truck is good. The brakes are good. I just checked the brakes. So I'll be safe hauling, and honestly, if it's catastrophic, I do not mind just living on the road for a couple of days, because a lot of people are saying that we'll need to leave Florida completely if it's the worst case scenario, which is honestly not that far-fetched, because back in 2004, I've been learning a lot about hurricanes. Back in 2004 there was Hurricane Charlie, and Hurricane Charlie was set to hit Tampa directly, and it didn't. And so all the people who were in Tampa were kind of halfway ready, and then all the people who were living where it actually hit, I think it was down in Port Charlotte, Venice area, they kind of struggled because they weren't really as prepared as they could have been. And that path changed in 24 hours. They were evacuating, not mandatory, but they were evacuating Tampa. People were leaving on their own choosing, and then within 24 hours it hit down south, and that's probably 2 hours south of where Tampa is. So, and if I'm wrong on any of those facts, I'm sorry. I just use Wikipedia, and I talked to some people who have lived here, so there may be some anecdotal alternative facts in there. I don't know. So what else? Hurricanes. I made a plan with my boyfriend if we have to evacuate. Right now, most likely scenario, he's going to stay in the house with the dogs and the cat, and I will do the horse stuff, and he already knows that it's going to be at least a day, because I at least will take the horses up and rearrange whatever and get their stalls ready and who knows what, and I'll be paying someone to take care of them to board, so that's not a problem. And then after that I will see where it goes. If it's worst case scenario, I'm going to be gone for a couple of days, and I considered bringing all the animals, because worst case scenario would mean our house would not be safe, and in the most likely scenario there's a lot of high winds, there's maybe some mild flooding. Nothing like Houston. That's probably not going to happen, knock on wood. But things definitely need to be taken into consideration. And thinking about other things. So we've made sure we already have bottled water at the house. We always have plenty of food, and plenty of food in the freezer. So if we lose power or water, we're good. The dogs are all vaccinated. I do have first aid for all the animals. I have medication ready if they were to get something and we couldn't get to the vet. I've got some broad spectrum antibiotics for horses and dogs. I don't have one for the cat. I've got sedative for the cat because she's the most likely to freak out. I've got some mild sedative for the horses, but they're not going to need it. And I've got Butte. I've got all kinds of first aid stuff. Thank you, Horsebox. Shout out. And really, it's just about preparing for the worst. And the worst would be widespread power outages, roads flooded. Also, the very worst, I think, would be a mandatory evacuation. Because if you pull up a map, maybe I'll show you a picture of a map here. Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Pinellas Park is around where I am, and off of that area there are only a few bridges. So there's one bridge that goes down south, two or three that go over towards Tampa, and then if you go north there's one major highway. So worst case scenario, mandatory evacuation of this area. If there were high winds at that point, they would probably shut down the bridges so that nobody would fly off the bridge, and we would have that one highway to get out, and that would be really terrible, to be honest. It would take a very long time. I'm sure there would be accidents. I'm sure there would be cars breaking down. I'm sure there would be people who couldn't get out if that were the case. So hopefully that does not happen. We're all just trying to stay as prepared as possible, and everybody is, banding together already. I've had a lot of people offer help, and I'm offering help too. If someone wants to evacuate just in case beforehand, I can take them somewhere. I've only got a 2-horse trailer, but I can do that. And then just remembering that the animals that we've taken responsibility of are the most important thing to keep safe. And if they're not safe, then obviously we would feel really terrible, and they rely on us 100%, so we have to try and look out for them as much as possible. What else? I just keep looking over at this horse as a cribber that's out here, and apparently it cribs through every collar. Where'd you go? Yeah, apparently that one cribs through every collar ever. Yeah, state of emergency in Florida. Bummer. And our arena is flooded still. I don't know if you noticed that, but see that? That's a puddle. And this happened because of science, gravity. The end of the arena that does not have a cover, that we're in right now, is higher than the end that's underneath the cover. So gravity brought the water from this end to that end. And since it's covered, the sun can't dry it out. So you got that going for us, which is nice. So I think I will hop off now. Sadie's done. She's over it, completely over it. And that's that. They do have a website. I think it's flgetaplan.com for Florida emergency preparedness and shelters and evacuation things. The state fairgrounds in Tampa offers emergency animal housing in their cement barn, and I don't know what they rate it at as far as what it could withstand, but it's cement, and you do have to pay to be there, and it's self-care, so there's no one there to care for the horses. So it would only be slightly better than our barns, because honestly, if we're in a hurricane and the horses need to be sheltered in a concrete barn, how are we going to get there to take care of them every day, twice a day, 3 times a day? Like, come on, no, that doesn't work out. We got to get somewhere that's full care board, or at the very least, you know, someone there half-time. Let me just hop down real quick. I bet that was fun to watch. So, I don't know. We should know more by, like, Wednesday. We should know if it's coming here or not. And we'll be able to make good decisions then. And I know I don't have a lot of subscribers, but I'm going to post videos and stuff. Any kind of updates that we have, I'm going to post it online. You can follow me on Instagram. I do have a Snapchat, but I don't use it for anything horse related. It's me and my friends that live in different states post pictures of stupid stuff we do. But if you want to follow me on that, then comment and I'll give you the name. So yeah, just anybody that's in Florida, make sure that you have a plan. It doesn't need to be extravagant. Your plan could just be load up the trailer with all the hay and shavings and grain and water and food for yourself and just drive north. I mean, that's better than nothing. And with technology the way it is, just find a Facebook group. Like, let's say you've got 1 tank of gas and that's all you've got, and you don't have any money right now, or I don't know, something silly. Just drive north. Just drive north. Get out of it, and then whatever city you end up in with an 1/8 of a tank of gas left, find the Facebook group for horses in that area and post and say, look, I've got this horse, I evacuated, whatever. People will help out. I mean, obviously, if you have the ability to help someone else out, try to, as much as possible. I barely have the ability to help anyone, but I've already offered multiple times. I can take horses if somebody wants to evacuate and they don't have a trailer. I can haul. I don't care. takes time and money, but you know, it's not a very often thing that we have to do. It's not frequent at all, so why not just go out on a limb for someone, you know? And I find that I've got a ton of Facebook friends across the country, and I've had a few people already offer, I think in Missouri and Kansas. I already know for a fact that I would have somewhere to go in Missouri. I went to school there, and I know a lot of people there, so that wouldn't be a problem. If I had to leave Florida, I would probably prefer to be in, well, I don't know, it depends on how bad the hurricane is. Georgia or Tennessee would be nice. And that'd be, you know, like a mini vacation for a couple of days while you're waiting out the storm in Florida. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy to think like that, but whatever, I do. So yeah, in other news, I ordered a really cute saddle pad on Amazon, and it's supposed to be here. And then right after that, it's supposed to be here tomorrow morning. And then right after that, I found a bunch of Facebook groups about matchy-matchy stuff. And it's kind of really cool, and I wish I would have waited to buy this one pad because I can't find anything to match it. And so many of these horses look absolutely beautiful in their matchy-matchy sets. So my next thing that I'm going to get for myself as a gift, because I do that, I do take care of myself and I give myself gifts. I work really hard all the time, and I don't have a lot of money, so these little things that I get, like saddle pads and whatever, that's what I do. I don't go out to eat a whole lot. I don't get Starbucks all the time. I wish I could, but I save that because if I went to Starbucks twice a week and I just stopped for 1 month, I would have enough to buy like a matchy-matchy set, a cheaper one. So I don't do that kind of stuff. I buy myself horse-related gifts, and of course gifts for Sadie. She's busy. She's very, very busy, and yes, she knows how to eat grass with a bit in. She chews it up just fine. There's not going to be any problem with that. Anyways, I should go. I'm bored. Sadie's bored, obviously. So yeah, I'm going to post, I hope that I get the videos. I'm going to show you this diagram of the latest predictions of where Hurricane Irma is going to go. And I'll put a little star where I'm located so that you can see what risk I'm at. Right now, we don't even know. You can't say like, oh, it's a 50-50 shot. We don't know. We have no idea. Okay. All right. Good job. We have no idea where it is going to go, where it's going to end up, how strong it's going to get. And if you believe in science and global warming, this is a storm that is a good example of things getting worse with global warming, because this is the strongest storm that they've seen in a long time, and it may break records forever. You know, I don't know. I've got to look up the statistics, but right now it's already a Category 4, and it hasn't even come close to anything yet. Well, okay, it's close to the islands, Ancillaries Islands, and Dominican Republic. That was the one I was trying to think of earlier. Dominican Republic. It's close to there. Okay, stubborn pony, come on. My pony was being a butt, because she is. Oh, I forgot to do my stirrups. Oh my god. So I hope that everybody that I know is going to stay safe, and if you have any questions, let me know about what our plans are or where we're going to go. I'm not the best for educating people on how to survive a hurricane. I've never lived through one, and I've been through a couple of different tropical storms around here, and the barns that I'm at always talk about evacuation if it gets worse. So it's always better to be prepared and have a plan and not need it than to need a plan and not have one. So that's my tip of the day. I had a few more things that I wanted to say before I ended my video, but so here's this before. This is how the barn looks, just in case there's some huge catastrophe, just to show what it's like here, and maybe we'll see flooding. I don't know. Is it going to be as bad as Charlie? Possibly, especially since we don't know where it's going. Is it going to be as bad as Harvey? Probably not. As far as I understand, Harvey can be, the damage from Harvey can be contributed largely to the fact that Houston and surrounding areas were built on some wetlands and marshes. Bayous is the correct word. It was built on some bayous. No, not bayous. Whatever the word is. I'll figure it out later. And I'll put it right over the screen. So they built over, and naturally that's a water absorbing area. So now that there's developments on it, the land can't absorb the water and soak it up like a sponge like it did before there were buildings. So and here in Florida we actually have there are a lot of conservation plots, I guess, that are natural wetlands, and you can't develop on them at all. So hopefully those preserves will help a little bit. Up north in Tarpon Springs, which is 40 minutes north of here, there are a lot of wetlands that you can't develop on. You can get some pretty cheap land though, but you can't build anything. So hopefully that helps out. I just saw a bat. And then also in regards to keeping supplies, we had a big talk at the barn. It wasn't an official meeting, but a lot of us were standing around chatting, and most people are like, oh yeah, leave the stuff. And yes, the horses are the #1 priority. So if you do not have extra time and you're in an emergency situation, yes, leave your saddle. I don't care if it was $3,000. If it takes you 2 minutes to get that saddle, then you're 2 minutes late getting on the road, and that could put you behind 20 or 30 cars. And if you're at the end of the line, nothing you can do. But if you're evacuating ahead of any mandatory evacuation and ahead of any flooding, then yes, grab all your stuff. If you've got time, and if you can take time off of work to leave early, and you've got somewhere safe to go that's not a huge hassle, yes, grab your stuff. It could flood or get blown away. You never know. And if we're talking about making your life easier as far as recovery from the storm, then grab your stuff. Grab all your medications also, first aid stuff, everything that you need, because you might not get it back. Anyways, so that's all for now. I just passed the tack room. Let's back up a little bit. There's a nice little tack room. So if this barn is gone by next weekend, this is what it looked like. And you can see it's all insulated aluminum. Let's see here. I'm going to bang on this and you can see for yourself. Let's see. Not very sturdy. There's wood in there. But yeah, we would be flattened if a hurricane came directly at us. If it was like 50-mile-an-hour winds, this barn would probably be damaged. They always say 50 miles an hour is like a category 1. I don't know. I'll put some information sheets up for you. Because I don't remember, and I'm just learning all this stuff too, because I'm not a native Floridian. Anyways, everybody stay safe. Have a good ride. See you later.